The rain hammered the leaded windows of the Hawthorne estate like fists demanding entry. But inside, the storm was fiercer. Thomas Hawthorne, 24, wiry, with eyes like storm clouds himself, stood frozen in the doorway of the grand dining room, the notary's envelope clutched in his trembling hand, its contents searing his mind like acid. To my beloved grandson Thomas, I leave the entirety of my estate, the Hawthorne fortune, and the family legacy. Not because he served me, but because he saw me. The words echoed, a grenade lobbed into the heart of his blood kin, who now turned on him with the savagery of wolves scenting a thief. In the suffocating hush that followed, Aunt Lydia's voice cracked like a whip. This is a forgery. A goddamn forgery. Her manicured nails dug into the damask tablecloth, knuckles white as bone, while Uncle Victor, red-faced and vein-popping, slammed his fist down, sending crystal goblets skittering. Thomas's mother, Elaine, didn't look at him. She never did anymore, not since the day he'd come out at 17. Her disappointment a wall thicker than the estate's ivy-choked stone. But Thomas? He met their glares head-on, the weight of his grandmother Evelyn's final act settling over him like a cloak he'd never asked for. Just hours ago, he'd been the invisible one, the help, as they whispered behind manicured hands, polishing silver, brewing her endless pots of Earl Grey, listening to her tales of old money and older regrets in the sun-dappled conservatory. Evelyn Hawthorne, matriarch of the crumbling New England dynasty, had plucked him from the gutter of his parents' disdain after high school, offering him a room in the attic and a job that paid in scraps but in secrets. "You're more Hawthorne than any of them, Tommy," she'd say, her voice a rasp of Virginia Woolf and Virginia Slims, eyes twinkling with the mischief of someone who'd outlived 2 husbands and a war. Now she was gone. Cancer, swift and merciless, claiming her in the master suite overlooking the Atlantic, where the waves had crashed like applause for her last breath. The family had gathered from their scattered perches. Lydia from her Park Avenue penthouse, Victor from his Wall Street lair, Elaine from the suburban McMansion in Connecticut where she pretended Thomas had never been born. Cousins, too, slick-haired Chad and vapid Becca, flanking their parents like sentinels. And Thomas, the outlier, the gay grandson who dared to love a man named Hunter back in the city, sneaking weekends in Brooklyn dives where drag queens and dreamers blurred the lines. The notary, a bespectacled mouse of a man named Hargrove, cleared his throat, his voice a squeak in the din, its ironclad ladies and gentlemen. Signed, witnessed, notarized. Mrs. Hawthorne was of sound mind to the end. Victor lunged for the papers, but Hargrove snatched them back, tucking them into his briefcase with the efficiency of a man who'd seen worse brawls at readings. Sound mind? That old bat was dotty as hell. Lydia shrieked, her pearls swinging like a noose. She babbled about ghosts and gardens. And now this fairy gets the keys to the kingdom? Over us? Her blood. Thomas's chest tightened. The word fairy, a familiar barb, honed sharp over years of family barbecues where he'd been the punchline. The pity case. But Evelyn had seen him, really seen him. Not the boy who'd flamed out of the closet, costing Elaine her bridge club status, or the dropout scraping by on odd jobs before Graham's mercy call. No, she'd seen the artist in him, the one who sketched her portraits in charcoal during quiet afternoons, capturing the lines of laughter and loss etched into her face. "You're the keeper of stories, Tommy?" she'd murmur, patting his hand, her rings cold against his skin. "They'll forget mine. You won't." The room erupted then, a cacophony of accusations flying like confetti at a funeral no one wanted. Elaine finally turned, her Botox-smooth face crumpling into something almost human. "Mom, why? We slaved for you, Victor managed the investments, Lydia hosted the galas. And him? He was your errand boy. Your comfort. Comfort." The word hung, laced with implication, and Thomas felt the heat rise in his cheeks. Was that what they thought? That he'd warmed her bed? Or worse? The insinuations had always simmered, subtle glances at his slim hips, his soft voice, but now they boiled over. Chad snorted, "Yeah, comfort. We all know what kind." "Enough," Hargrove interjected, but it was Thomas who stepped forward. his voice steady as the estate's ancient oaks outside. Graham wasn't dotty. She was done. Done with the lies you all peddled, the mergers that bled the trust dry, the affairs you swept under Persian rugs. She told me everything, every night, over sherry. And she chose me because I listened. The silence that fell was heavier than the rain. Victor's eyes narrowed, calculating. Listened, huh? Blackmailed, more like. You think we won't contest this? Every lawyer in Boston will bury you. Thomas almost laughed, the absurdity bubbling up like bile. Bury him? He'd been buried alive for years, in the attic room with its slanted ceilings and single bulb, in the shadows of family photos where he was cropped out, in the arms of Hunter on stolen nights when the world felt less like a cage. Hunter, tall, tattooed, with a laugh like gravel and a heart like harbor lights, had been his anchor, their love a quiet rebellion against the hawthorn frost. They'd met at a queer poetry slam in the village, Thomas reciting verses about fractured families, Hunter in the front row, his green eyes locking on like spotlights. You're a goddamn storm in human form, Hunter had whispered after, pulling him into a kiss that tasted of whiskey and want. But Hunter wasn't here now, thank God. He'd urged Thomas to face this alone. Your fight, babe. Show him the hawthorn fire. And as the family circled, Thomas felt that fire flicker. Contest it, he said softly, meeting Victor's glare. But you'll lose. Graham made sure of that. She embedded clauses, proof of your pilfering, emails, ledgers. It's all in the safe. Lydia gasped, a theatrical inhale, clutching her chest as if Evelyn's ghost had slapped her. Elaine just stared, her lips parting in a silent why that Thomas had no answer for. Not yet. As Hargrove gathered his things and the family dissolved into hissed side conversations, Thomas slipped out to the veranda, the cold Atlantic wind slapping his face like a wake-up call. The estate sprawled before him, manicured lawns fading into cliffs, the Hawthorne name carved into a weathered gatepost. It was his now. All of it. The fortune that could fund a lifetime of art shows and anonymous donations to shelters for kids like him. Kicked out unseen. But victory tasted like ash without her. He pulled out his phone, thumbing Hunter's number. It rang twice before that voice, rough and warm, cut through the static. How'd it go, Storm? Thomas leaned against the balustrade, rain mingling with tears he hadn't noticed falling. It's mine, all mine, and they hate me more than ever. A pause, then Hunter's chuckle, low and knowing. Good, let them. You're not their help anymore. You're the king. King. The word lodged in Thomas's throat as he hung up, staring at the darkening sea. But kings, he knew from Evelyn's histories, were lonely creatures. And this crown, it was forged in betrayal's fire. The days blurred into a siege. Victor filed the contest immediately, his lawyers descending like locusts, depositions scheduled, private investigators sniffing for dirt on Thomas's lifestyle. Lydia took to social media, subtle posts about family values under siege. Her followers, old money blue bloods, clucking sympathy in comments. Elaine called once, her voice a wire-thin plea. Come home, Tommy. We can fix this. Pretend it never happened. Pretend. Thomas echoed, pacing the attic that was now his reluctant throne room. Like you pretended I didn't exist after Dad walked out? After I told you about Hunter and you called him a phase? Silence, then a click. That was Elaine, retreat over reckoning. Hunter arrived that weekend, barreling up the winding drive in his battered Ford pickup, a stark contrast to the Bentleys in the garage. He smelled of motor oil and mint gum, his arms wrapping Thomas in a bear hug that squeezed the doubt right out. This place is a mausoleum, he muttered, eyeing the crystal chandeliers. But you light it up. They made love that night in the attic, urgent and unhurried. Hunter's hands mapping Thomas's body like a cartographer claiming new lands. Tell me about her, Hunter whispered after, as they lay tangled in sheets that smelled of lavender. Evelyn's scent. Thomas traced the hawk tattoo on Hunter's shoulder, a remnant of his rodeo days in Texas before he traded spurs for verses. Graham was the only one who got it. Said love's the real inheritance. messy, unentailed. She knew about you even before I said the words. That boy's got fire, she'd say. Don't let the hawthorns drown it. Hunter propped on an elbow, his gaze serious. And now, with all this, Thomas swallowed. I don't know. Part of me wants to burn it down, sell the estate, give the money to queer kids, start over in the city with you. But another part, she trusted me to keep it alive. The gardens, the library, her stories. Their talks stretched into dawn, plans half-formed. A gallery for Thomas's art, Hunter's poetry chapbooks printed on Hawthorne Press. But reality intruded Monday morning, a knock echoing through the hall like doom's doorbell. It was Victor, uninvited, his face a mask of false contrition. Thomas, we need to talk. Family to family. Thomas met him in the study, Hunter lingering in the doorway like a sentinel. Victor paced, his loafers sinking into the Aubusson rug. Look, kid, we overreacted. The will's a shock, but blood's thicker. Drop the contest and we'll cut you in 20%, tax-free. Enough for your pursuits. Code for Hunter, for the life Thomas dared to live. And if I don't? Victor's smile was a shark's. Then we dig. Your gram wasn't spotless. Affairs, debts. And you? That little artist boyfriend? We've got photos from your trips. Discreet ones. Wouldn't want them leaked to the tabloids. Hawthorne scandal. Poof. Legacy in ruins. The threat landed like a gut punch, Thomas's vision tunneling. Hunter stepped forward, his voice a growl. You threatening us? In his house. Our house, Victor snapped. Always will be. As Victor left, the door slamming like a guillotine, Thomas sank into Evelyn's wingback chair, the leather creaking under him. Betrayal, familial, festering, had claws, and they were sunk deep. Hunter didn't sleep that night. His body coiled like a spring beside Thomas's. By morning, over black coffee in the kitchen. Once Evelyn's domain, with its copper pots and herb-scented air, he laid it out plain. We fight dirty, too. Your gram left you ammunition. Use it. Thomas nodded, but doubt gnawed. The ledgers Hargrove had mentioned were locked in the study safe. A brass behemoth Evelyn had called her confessional, dialing the combination, her wedding date, May 14th, 62. He swung it open to stacks of files, yellowed envelopes, a laptop humming faintly on self-power. There, in meticulous columns, Victor's embezzlement. Siphoned funds to offshore accounts, masked as consulting fees. Lydia's galas? Lavish facades for kickbacks from vendors. Even Elaine, sweet Elaine, had forged Evelyn's signature on a second mortgage, pocketing the cash for her Botox fund. Jesus, Hunter whistled, flipping pages. This is a goddamn Ponzi within the family trust. Thomas's hands shook as he photocopied it all. The machines were a conspirator's whisper. She knew, all along, and she let them think they were winning. Because she loved you enough to let you choose the battlefield, Hunter said, pulling him close. Their kiss was fierce, a pact sealed in ink and intent. The counterattack launched that afternoon. Thomas's own lawyer, a sharp queer woman named Riley from Boston's South End, recommended by a drag queen contact, filed the evidence with the probate court. By evening, Victor's phone call was apoplectic. You little shit. Where'd you get that? Graham's ghost, Thomas replied coolly, Hunter's hand on his knee under the desk. Want to talk terms? 20%, for you to slink away quiet. The line went dead. Victory, small but sweet. But the family didn't fold easy. 2 days later, Lydia arrived unannounced, her Chanel suit of armor, Becca in tow like a vapid squire. They cornered Thomas in the conservatory, amid Evelyn's orchids, fragile blooms that thrived on neglect. This isn't you, Lydia cooed, her voice honey over venom. Playing Lord of the Manor? With that tattooed thug? Mom raised us better. Becca tittered, scrolling her phone. Yeah, Tommy, we saw the pics. You two at that club, Pride? Gross. What would the board say? Thomas's blood iced. The board, the Hawthorne Foundation, stewards of the estate's charities, now his to command. The same board that'd boot you for fraud? Save it LYD. Grams will stands. Lydia's eyes flashed, stepping closer, her perfume cloying. Fraud? Oh honey, we're family. We forgive. But him. She jerked her head toward the house, where Hunter was sketching in the sunroom. He's poison, dragging you down to whatever this is. Remember when you were our little Tommy? Before the confusion. Confusion. The word twisted like a knife, dredging up memories. High school lockers graffitied with slurs. Elaine's tears at dinner. Fix it or leave. He'd left, hitchhiking to the city, crashing on Hunter's couch after that poetry night. Their first night together, a blur of shared hurt and heat. I was never confused, Thomas said, voice low. You were. All of you pretending love meant ownership. Graham taught me different. Lydia laughed, brittle. Evelyn? She pitied you. The gay orphan no one wanted. This inheritance? Her last joke on us. The word stung, but Thomas held ground, orchids nodding as if in agreement. Joke's on you if you push. Riley's got the files ready for the DA. Becca paled, but Lydia just smiled, colder now. Push? Darling, we're just getting started. They swept out, leaving petals scattered like warnings. That night, Hunter found Thomas in the library, Evelyn's favorite haunt, poring over her journals. Leather-bound tomes of a life unlived. Found this, Thomas said, handing over a passage. Evelyn's script looping, My darlings think money binds, but it's stories told true that free us. Tommy knows. He'll tell mine when I can't. Hunter read, then set it down, drawing Thomas to the rug by the fire. She's right, so tell me yours. All of it. And he did, words tumbling like rain. The boy who'd hidden crushes on baseball captains, the coming out that shattered Thanksgivings, the nights with Hunter that rebuilt him. Lazy Sundays in bed, debating Whitman over takeout, Hunter's fingers tracing poems on his skin. You're my plot twist, Thomas murmured, Hunter's lips brushing his temple. The part where the help becomes the hero. Their lovemaking was slow, reverent, firelight gilding their bodies. Afterward, sated and spent, Hunter traced the scar on Thomas's hip, a bar fight remnant from a homophobic heckler. We'll win this, he vowed. Not for the money, for her, for us. Dawn brought a truce of sorts. Elaine arrived alone, her Audi purring up the drive like a penitent. She looked smaller in the foyer, sans makeup, her hair uncharacteristically mussed. Can we talk? Really talk? Thomas led her to the sunroom, Hunter discreetly absent. Over tea, Evelyn's bone china, chipped from generations. She unfolded. I failed you. After your father left, booze, women, I clung to normalcy. You being you terrified me, like losing him all over. Thomas sipped, scalding. You didn't lose me, Mom. You pushed. Tears welled, uncharacteristic. I know. And now this will. This her way of pushing back. For you. A pause. Heavy. Victor and Lydia, they're raging. Planning something. A buyout scheme. Calling in favors from old cronies on the board. The board. Thomas's domain now, but Victor's tentacles ran deep. What do they want? You out. Quietly. With a payout to vanish. And you. Elaine's gaze dropped. I want my son back. Gay, straight, whatever. Just family. The word fractured him. Family. Evelyn's version woven from truth, or this fractured facsimile. I need time, he said finally, to decide what Hawthorne means now. She left with a hug, tentative, her perfume lingering like regret. Hunter returned then, arms full of groceries. Soul food run, Texas style. And they cooked together, chili simmering as laughter bubbled. For a moment, the estate felt like home. But the calm shattered midweek. Chad, the weasel cousin, emailed from an anonymous account. Grainy photos attached. Thomas and Hunter at a bathhouse in Provincetown. Bodies blurred but unmistakable. Leak these or we tank the foundation. Your call. Rage, hot and immediate, surged. Thomas forwarded it to Riley, who laughed over speakerphone. Amateur hour. Extortion's a felony. But smart play, go public first. Press conference. Own the narrative. Own it. The idea terrified and thrilled. That night, scripting with Hunter by candlelight, Thomas found his voice. Raw, unapologetic. I'm not the help. I'm the heir. And I'm gay, in love and done hiding. Hunter's grin was wicked. That's my storm. The presser was set for Friday. The estate's press room dusted off. Marble floors, portraits of stern Hawthorne's glowering approval. Invites went to Boston Globe, local rags, even a queer outlet from the city. Victor called, voice oily. Don't do this, Tommy. You'll regret it. Regret, Thomas echoed. Like you regret the $2 million you funneled to your mistress's Cayman account? Click. As the clock ticked, Thomas wandered the gardens. Evelyn's roses heavy with late bloom. Hunter found him there, anxiety etched. What if they win? What if I lose you in the fallout? Hunter cupped his face, thumbs brushing cheeks. You won't. I'm all in, tats, truck, and terrible chili. We're the story now. Kiss under moonlight, petals brushing ankles. For the first time, Thomas believed it. Friday dawned gray, reporters milling like crows. Flashbulbs popped as Thomas took the podium. Hunter off stage, solid as oak. My grandmother, Evelyn Hawthorne, didn't leave me this legacy out of pity. He began, voice steady. She left it because I saw her, the woman behind the wealth. And today, I see my family trying to claw it back with lies and threats. Gasps rippled as Riley projected the ledgers, redacted, damning. Questions flew. Is it true you're contesting? What's your relationship to the deceased? And the boyfriend? Hunter stepped up then, hand in Thomas's, unscripted. Partner, he corrected, green eyes defiant. And yeah, we're the twist. Deal with it. The room exploded, cameras, cheers, jeers. Victor and Lydia watched from the back, faces ashen, slinking out like defeated generals. By nightfall, the story trended. Hawthorne heir, queer inheritance. Support poured in, emails from kids like young Thomas, donors pledging to the foundation. Elaine texted, proud, finally. But victory's afterglow faded fast. Saturday, a package arrived, no sender, just a manila envelope. Inside, Evelyn's last letter, dated her final day. Tommy, if they come for you, remember. Love's the clause they can't break. Hunter's your now. The estate your then. Build something true. Graham. Tears blurred ink. Hunter read over his shoulder, then pulled him down to the study rug. She knew, he murmured, about us, from the start. Their bodies joined, slow and sacred, the letter between them like a blessing. In Hunter's arms, Thomas glimpsed the future. Not crown, but hearth. Yet the war wasn't over. Monday brought the board meeting, Victor's last stand. Suits crammed the conference room, air thick with cigar ghosts. This boy's unfit, Victor thundered, slamming photos. More leaks. Thomas at a rally, sign reading love wins. Murmurs, but Riley rose cool as steel. Unfit? Says the man indicted for fraud tomorrow. Gasps. The vote was swift. Thomas installed his chair, Victor ejected. Elation crashed as Lydia cornered him post-meeting, eyes wild. You think this ends it? We'll ruin you socially, legally. That lover of yours? We'll bury him in Texas scandals. Drag him back to the dirt. Fear flickered, but Thomas straightened. Try. But Graham's stories? They're mine now, and they'll outlast your spite. She left fuming, but the seed of doubt took root. That night, Hunter confessed over wine. She's right about one thing. My past, ex-con for a bar brawl, queer kid from nowhere. If they dig. Thomas silenced him with a kiss. Then we dig together. You're my Hawthorne now. Weeks turned to renovation, literal and not. Thomas hired queer architects to modernize the attic into a loft, Hunter's touch everywhere. Exposed beams, a mural of intertwined storms. The foundation pivoted, grants for LGBTQ+ artists, shelters in Evelyn's name. Press hounded, but Thomas learned to parry. His sketches selling at a pop-up in Soho, Hunter's poems beside them. One evening, Amid paint fumes, Elaine arrived, with boxes of Thomas's childhood things, dust-covered Legos and report cards. "For the new you," she said, tentative smile. Dinner followed, awkward but real. Hunter charmed with chilly tales. Elaine laughed, first genuine in years. As she left, hugging Thomas fierce, she whispered, "Forgive me." "Not yet," he said honestly. "But maybe soon." Progress. Human, messy. But betrayal's echo lingered. A month in, Chad hacked the estate's email, leaked donor lists to rivals, crashing pledges. Chaos. Cancelled events, whispers of incompetence. Victor's ghost, surely. Thomas raged in the library, Hunter holding him through sobs. "It's crumbling. What if she's right? I'm just the help, playing dress-up." Hunter's grip tightened. "Bullshit. You're the storm. And storms rebuild." They did, nights of calls, damage control. Riley sued. Chad folded, spilling Victor's orchestration. The board stood firm, donors doubled down. By autumn, leaves turning the cliffs to fire, the estate breathed anew. A gala launched the revamped foundation. Drag performers, string quartets, Evelyn's portrait unveiled. Thomas's charcoal, eyes alive with mischief. Hunter, in a borrowed tux, pulled him aside mid-toast. "Marry me," knee drop, ring simple, silver, etched with a hawk. Thomas's yes was a sob, the crowd erupting. Family filtered in, Elaine beaming, Lydia absent, Victor a no-show. But in Hunter's arms, under chandeliers, Thomas felt whole. Evelyn's will had upended them all. But from the ruins, love, raw, romantic, relentless, built a legacy anew. Winter gripped the Hawthorne estate like a jealous lover, snow blanketing the cliffs in a hush that amplified every creak and whisper. Thomas woke to Hunter's snoring, the ring on his finger catching moonlight through frost-laced panes, a talisman against the cold. Their engagement had leaked, of course. Tabloids dubbed it the heir's queer vow, a mix of scandal and fairy tale that boosted foundation donations but invited fresh venom. Victor's legal appeals dragged on, a slow bleed of court dates and depositions, while Lydia's social sabotage, whispers at galas, frozen shoulders at charity luncheons, chilled Thomas's budding confidence. Yet mornings like this, with Hunter's arm slung possessive over his waist, made it bearable. "Coffee?" Hunter mumbled, nuzzling Thomas's neck, stubble rasping like sandpaper on silk. "Only if you make it strong enough to wake the dead," Thomas replied, rolling to face him. Their kiss deepened, lazy and lingering, hands wandering paths well-trodden. Hunter's body, solid, scarred from rodeo falls and bar fights, was Thomas's map to solace, each tattoo a chapter. The hawk for freedom, the rose for thorns endured. Downstairs, the kitchen hummed with renovation echoes, new counters gleaming, a rainbow flag discreetly pinned to the fridge. Thomas sketched while Hunter brewed, charcoal flying over paper. Evelyn mid-laugh, Hunter's profile fierce beside her. "For the wedding invite," he explained, when Hunter peered over. Hunter's brow furrowed. "Wedding? Here? With your vulture kin circling?" Thomas set the pencil down. "Not here. City Hall, then a bash in the village. Drag queens, poets, no tuxes. Mom's coming. Maybe even Chad, if he grovels." Hunter chuckled, but his eyes held worry. "And the will?" Victor's got appeals stacked like Jenga. One pull, and it crumbles. Thomas finished, standing to wrap arms around Hunter's waist. "But Riley says we're solid. And even if, we'd have each other. Graham's real gift." The day unfolded in routine rebellion. Emails to donors. A virtual board meeting where Thomas greenlit a youth center in Boston's South End, Evelyn's haven, for queer runaways. Hunter tagged along to the city run, his pickup hauling supplies, paint, books, hope in cans. At a drop-off, a teen named Jax, all sharp edges and shadowed eyes, clutched a donated sketchpad. "You're the guy from the news. The gay heir." Thomas nodded, throat tight. "Yeah. What's your story?" Jax shrugged, but words spilled. "Disownment, streets, a boyfriend lost to overdose." Hunter knelt, eye level. Mine's similar. Texas dust. Fists for feelings. But art? Love? They save you. Hold on to that. Jax's grin was tentative, a crack in armor. Driving back, Thomas squeezed Hunter's thigh. You're good at this. The uncle type. Hunter's laugh barked. Uncle Hunter? Hell, I'll take it. Long as I'm your forever first. That night, snow falling thick, they danced in the conservatory, or tried, Hunter's boots clumsy on tile, Thomas's laughter echoing off glass. Orchids watched, blooms defiant in frost. Remember our first dance? Thomas murmured, swaying to phantom jazz. That dive bar after the slam. You stepped on my toes. Still would? Hunter grinned, dipping him low. For you? Anything. Their tumble to the rug was inevitable, clothes shedding like old skins. Hunter's mouth trailed fire down Thomas's chest, pausing at the scar. This one's mine to kiss better. Thomas arched, gasps fogging pains. Their union a symphony of give and take. Hunter's strength yielding to Thomas's need. Rhythm building to crescendo. Afterward, curled in afterglow, Thomas traced Hunter's jaw. Marry me tomorrow? Hunter's eyes softened. Legal first. But yeah, every day. Bliss fractured Friday. A courier delivered court papers. Victor's motion to exhume Evelyn's body for mental competency autopsy. The claim, dementia, fabricated by a bought witness, Lydia's hairdresser, sworn to senility episodes. Thomas's scream echoed halls. Hunter found him in the study, papers shredded, tears carving tracks. They're desecrating her. For money. Hunter's arms enveloped. Rock steady. We stop it. Riley now. Calls flew. Riley furious, vowing injunctions. But the damage seeped. Press swarmed. Headlines twisting. Heir's inheritance. Grave robbery or rightful claim? Elaine phoned. Voice quavering. Victor's unhinged. I told him no, but he's rallied the old guard. Bored whispers of ousting you. Ousting. The word clawed. That weekend, Hunter dragged Thomas to Brooklyn. Escape in dive bars and street art. They crashed at their old spot. A walk-up with leaky faucets and memories. Saturday night, poetry slam redux. Thomas on stage, verses raw. Inheritance isn't gold. It's ghosts we guard. Loves we hoard. Hunter in front, eyes locked. The snap of fingers, applause like thunder. Back home Sunday, resolve hardened. Thomas rallied the board in person. Fierce presentations, Evelyn's journals read aloud. Lucid, loving. Votes held. Victor's motion denied. But the toll showed. Thomas gaunt, sketches dark, Hunter's worry lines deepening. February brought fragile thaw. Elaine hosted a dinner, neutral ground, her Connecticut home, neutral as a minefield. Chad slunk in, contrite, spilling Victor's plots for absolution. Lydia declined. A migraine. Over roast, Elaine bridged gaps. I read your poems, Tommy. Hunter's too. They're beautiful. Like you. Hunter's foot nudged Thomas's under table, code for breathe. Dessert thawed to tears. Elaine's apology, full-throated. I was scared of losing the Hawthorne name, my place. But you're its heart. Thomas's forgiveness cracked open, tentative. Then help. Stand with us at the wedding. Her nod was tear-streaked. I'd be honored. Spring budded hope. The youth center broke ground, Jack's first volunteer, wielding shovel like sword. Thomas's solo show sold out in Boston. Hunter's chapbook launch packed. Wedding plans coalesced. June, City Hall, then a state reception. Rainbow Isle, Evelyn's roses. But May stormed in. Victor's Hail Mary. Leaked affair allegations. Evelyn's old flames. Twisted to undue influence on the will. Tabloids feasted. Matriarch's secret sins doom dynasty? Donors wavered. Board panicked. Thomas holed up, doubt devouring. Hunter found him in the attic loft, charcoal dust everywhere, a half-finished portrait of them. Storm-tossed, intertwined. This ain't you, Hunter said, kneeling. Hiding? No, we face it. Face it they did. Counterpressor, Evelyn's lovers coming forward. Not scandals, but sapphic stories of a woman unloved in life, loving fiercely in death. She chose Thomas because he mirrored her. Unconventional, unbroken. One said, voice steady on camera. Victor crumbled, case dismissed. But in the quiet after, Lydia struck lone. Anonymous letter to Hunter's Texas family. Old wounds ripped, his mother calling, Bible thumping. That Hawthorne boy's the devil, dragging you to hell. Hunter shattered. First time Thomas saw it. Pacing cliffs, wind whipping. I thought we outran this. But blood, it pulls. Thomas pulled him back, hands framing face. Your blood's here. With me. We're the family now. Rebuild. Therapy sessions. Hunter's verses turning pain to power. June wedding dawned golden. City Hall vows simple. In storms and sun, I choose you. Hunter's ring exchange choked. You're my harbor, storm. Reception at the estate. Tents on lawns, queer icons toasting, Jack's DJing beats. Elaine danced with Thomas, tears joyful. Even Chad, tipsy, clapped Hunter's back. You're all right, man. As fireworks burst over the Atlantic. Evelyn's favorite. Thomas and Hunter slipped to the veranda, rings glinting. We did it, Thomas whispered. Hunter's grin sly. Nah, we're doing it. Every day. Love's claws unbroken. Yet autumn whispered warnings. Foundation thriving, but Victor's shadow loomed. Bankruptcy rumors, desperate bids for revenge. One night, package on the stoop. Evelyn's brooch, pawned by Lydia. Note. Sell this, or we burn it all. Burn. The threat ignited old fears. Thomas clutched the brooch. Sapphires like her eyes, vowing protection. Winter again, first anniversary. Snow fell soft as they renewed in the conservatory, orchids witnesses. But dawn brought Elaine, frantic. Victor's at the gate with police. Says you're squatting. Squatting? In his home? Hunter grabbed the will. Thomas faced them, papers waving like flags. Victor smirked, badge gleaming. Eviction notice. Boards revoked you. Lies. The cop, local and bought, nodded. Chaos. Calls to Riley, scuffle as Hunter blocked. Victor's taunt. Faggots don't inherit. Not in Hawthorne blood. The punch landed, Hunter's fist to Victor's jaw, cop's taser crackling. Arrests. Hunter cuffed, Thomas screaming. Jail cell cold, Hunter bruised but unbroken. For you, he mouthed through bars. Bail posted, case spun. Assault on kin. Media frenzy reignited. Board meeting emergency. Thomas, hollow-eyed, presented audits. Victor's bribes exposed. Ouster unanimous. Victor vanished, debts swallowing him. Lydia fled to Europe, silence her surrender. Spring healed. Youth center thrived, Jack's mentoring. Thomas's novel, Evelyn's stories woven with his hit shelves, bestseller badge. Hunter's TED Talk on queer resilience viral. Summer wedding vow 2. Clifftop waves crashing. Elaine officiated, voice proud. In love's name. As rings exchanged anew, Thomas felt Evelyn's whisper. Well done, keeper. The estate, once cage, now cradle. Betrayal's scars faded. Romance's bloom eternal. Years folded like the estate's ancient maps. Time blurring edges of wound and wonder. Thomas Hawthorne Black, hyphenated now, a nod to Hunter's insistence. Stood at the youth center's ribbon cutting, 5 years post-will, scissors gleaming in sun. The plaque read, Evelyn's Haven, where stories begin. Jax, now 22, clean-shaven and college-bound, grinned beside him. Couldn't have without you, boss. Boss. The word still chafed, but Thomas wore it like a tailored suit, sharp, unapologetic. Hunter, ever the shadow anchor, squeezed his hand off Mike. Our kid's watching, he murmured, nodding to their adopted son, Milo, 8, freckled, with Hunter's green eyes and Thomas's artist's fingers, clapping wildly from the crowd. Adoption had been their boldest chapter. Milo, a hurricane orphan from the Gulf, placed after therapy marathons and home studies. Families chosen. Hunter had said. Signing papers, voice rough. Thomas's sketches filled Milo's room. Superheroes with rainbow capes, storms turning to stars. The center buzzed post-ceremony. Kids painting murals, donors mingling. Elaine. Graham to Milo, her silver hair a crown, hugged Thomas fierce. Your mother's proud. Evelyn, too. Her own healing ran deep. Divorced from pretense, volunteering weekly. Her bridge club swapped for book groups on Queer Lit. Lydia's ghost flickered rare. A Christmas card. Stiff. Wishing peace. Victor. Rumor had him in Florida. Clerking at a mini-mart. Fortune forfeited. Chad. Reformed weasel. Managed foundation events. Wedding planner extraordinaire. But peace, Thomas knew, was a garden. Tended, not taken. Evening found them home. Estate evolved. Greenhouse expanded for community plots. Library a lending hub. Milo dashed in, muddied from fort building. Dad. Daddy. Look. I drew us. Charcoal on newsprint. 3 figures, hand in hand. A hawk soaring. Hunter scooped him, tickling. Masterpiece, squirt. Frame it with pops. Dinner was chaos joyful. Spaghetti wars. Hunter's Texas twang storytelling tall tales. Bedtime rituals. Thomas reading Evelyn's journals, Milo wide-eyed. Graham was brave. Bravest, Thomas whispered, tucking blankets. Like you. Alone, Hunter pulled him to the master suite. Once Evelyn's, now theirs. 4-poster bed, a sea of linens. Remember when this felt like a cage? Hunter's hands roamed, unbuttoning Thomas's shirt slow. Thomas shivered, arching. Now it's ours. Lips met, heat building, Hunter's mouth hot on neck, collarbone lower. Thomas's fingers tangled in Hunter's hair, guiding, gasping as tongue traced hip. God, you. Shoo! Hunter teased, voice gravel. Let me worship. He did, thorough, Thomas unraveling in waves. Release shuddering, Hunter's name a prayer. Then switch. Thomas atop, mapping tattoos with mouth, eliciting groans that echoed cliffs. Their joining was poetry in motion. Deep, deliberate, Hunter's thrusts meeting Thomas's rhythm. Climax shared in syncopated cries. After tangled, Hunter traced the ring. 10 years since that will. Feels like yesterday. Thomas hummed agreement. And forever. But forever tested them autumn sharp. A letter arrived, courier, sealed wax, hawthorn crest. Inside, from a lawyer in London. Lydia, dying, cancer, irony's bite, willed a confession. Read it alone, Hunter urged, brow creased. Thomas did, in the study, fire crackling. Lydia's script, shaky. I hated you for taking what I clawed for. Mother saw your light, not mine, shadows of my failures. The threats, the leaks. Spite's child. Forgive? No. But no. She loved us all broken. Enclosed. Evelyn's sapphire brooch. Reclaimed. Tears fell. Betrayal's full circle, humanized. He shared with Hunter, then Elaine. Her sigh. My sister. Always the storm. Funeral was small. Paris cemetery. Autumn leaves like confetti. Thomas went alone, Hunter respecting space. At the grave he placed the brooch. Rest, Aunt Lyd. Stories end. But love lingers. Return brought clarity. Foundation gala that winter. Black tie, but queer twisted suits with flair. Performances blending drag and dance. Milo, in tiny bow tie, stole hearts. Hunter's speech on legacies queer and chosen. Drew standing ovation. Post-party. Cliffs under stars. Thomas proposed evolution. Sell the estate? Museum, trust. We keep the greenhouse, move to the city, closer to the center. Hunter's nod thoughtful. Your call, Storm. But yeah, roots shift. Spring sale buzzed. Preservationists thrilled. Proceeds ballooning endowments. Closing day, last walkthrough. Ghosts benign now, Evelyn's laugh in wind. Keep her well, Thomas murmured. New home. Brooklyn brownstone, walls echoing slams and verses. Milo thrived, school, soccer, sketches stacking. Hunter taught poetry workshops. Thomas's second novel, fiction laced with truth. toward coasts. Anniversary 5. Paris escape, Eiffel glow. Hotel balcony, champagne fizzing, Hunter knelt anew. Not ring, but vow renewal scroll. Through betrayals, births, all I choose. Thomas's yes sealed with kiss, city lights witnesses. Lovemaking in silk sheets. Urgent, then tender, Hunter's body a familiar wild. Thomas's responses honed by years. Peaks crested together, afterglow whispers of Milo, futures. Back stateside, crisis brewed subtle, Milo 10 now questioning. Why do kids at school say boys can't love boys? Heartache hit. Thomas knelt, honest. They can, and do, like daddy and me. Hunter backed. And like you, loving whoever lights your fire. Therapy followed. Family unit ironclad. Summer camp for Milo, queer youth, forging kin. Winter deepened bonds. Elaine's 60th. Estate turned venue, one last hurrah. Snow-draped. Toasts flowed. Chad's speech, tear-jerking on redemption. Dance floor. Thomas and Hunter, sway slow, Milo's head on shoulder. Mid-spin, Elaine cut in. You've built what I couldn't. Thank you. Grace, unearned. Yet shadows crept. Victor's postcard, from a halfway house. Scrawled, sorry. Too late. Thomas burned it, ashes to sea. Forgiveness selective. Spring bloomed full. Center's 10th, Milo emceeing. Jax, now director, hugged Thomas. Your storm started this. Gala after. Fireworks. First kiss retold. Home, Milo asleep, Hunter and Thomas to loft. Candles, massage oils. Hands slick, exploring. Hunter's fingers teasing, entering slow. Thomas moaning arch reciprocity. Thomas's turn, prostate play drawing Hunter's pleas. Union fierce, walls shaking, release cathartic. After, sated, Hunter mused. Think Evelyn smiles? Grins wicked. Thomas laughed. Summer wedding for Jax. Thomas best man, Hunter officiant. Vows echoed theirs. Love's claws eternal. Autumn harvest. Novel 3, Pulitzer whisper. Hunter's collection, forward by Thomas. Winter solstice. Family ritual. Evelyn's sherry. Stories shared. Milo. My turn. Tale of school crush. Boy named Eli first spark. Pride swelled. Guidance gentle. Heart leads kid. New Year dawned. Brownstone party. Elaine toasting. To Hawthorne's remade. Thomas. Hunter's arm round waist. Milo dancing wild. Legacy lived. Not inherited. Betrayals echo faint. Romances roar loud. Human whole. Decades distilled to essence. The Hawthorne name a beacon, not burden. Thomas, gray at temples, wiry still, lectured at Yale. Queer lit, legacies of love. Hunter, silver-streaked, ran a press. Chapbooks for voices silenced. Milo, 28, artist activist, his wedding that summer a blend Brooklyn loft, clifftop echoes. Thomas walked him aisle, Hunter waiting officiant. Vows, like my dad's taught. Love defies wills, wins wars. Eli, Milo's groom. Tears shining. Storm to my steady. Reception roared. Elaine, 80 but spry. Dancing with Chad, now Uncle Jovial. Jax toasted. From haven to home. Thanks to you. Nights later, estate visit, museum now, tours reverent. Thomas and Hunter wandered gardens. Roses rampant. Sold right, Hunter said, hand in hand. Kept the heart, Thomas replied. Home. Brownstone creaked companionable. Lovemaking evolved, gentler, deeper. Hunter's touch reverent on age-faded scars. Thomas's mouth worshipful. Peaks softer, but profound. Release a sigh shared. Bodies memories map. After talk turn time. Grandkids. Hunter teased. Milo's announcement next week. Twins brewing. Joy cascaded. Winter gala. Foundations golden 50 years. Thomas keynote. Evelyn didn't leave money. She left permission. To love loud, live true. Applause thundered. Hunter's wink from wings. My storm. Spring planting. Greenhouse legacy, Milo tilling with Eli. Thomas sketched, Hunter versing. Summer storm hit literal, hurricane off Atlantic, echoes of Milo's origins. Power out, candles flicker, stories spun. Milo's birth, Evelyn's will, Lydia's letter. Fall harvest. Novel 4, memoir tinged. Hunter's anthology, clauses of the heart. Winter wedding for twins aunt. Wait. No, Milo's sister-in-law, but family fluid. Ages turned. Elaine's passing, gentle, bedside, hands held. Proud. Her last. Funeral. Laughter amid tears, her book group eulogizing. Victor's obit, quiet, overdose, alone. Thomas sent flowers, no note. Closure. Milo's twins born spring. Evelyn named girl, Victor boy redeemed. Thomas held them, Hunter humming lullabies. Grandpa duties, sketches, stories. Your great-gram? Storm like you. Hunter's 60th. Rodeo-themed bash, tattoos retold. Thomas's gift, hawk brooch, Evelyn's, past full circle. Their vow renewal, 50th. Clifftop, Milo officiant. Waves crashed, rings reaffirmed. Through all betrayals, births I choose. Kiss salt-kissed, sunset blaze. Brownstone years, bookshelves groaning, Milo's visits chaotic. Lovemaking. Spoon slow, hands linked, climax whisper quiet but earth-shaking. One dawn, Thomas woke to Hunter's cough. Doctor's diagnosis. Lungs, from rodeo dust. Time's claws, Hunter joked, but eyes grave. Fight fierce, treatments, trials. Milo rallied family. Jack's fundraised. Thomas bedside, sketching portraits, Hunter fierce. Fading. Last spring, hospice garden, birdsong. No regrets, Hunter rasped. None. You, Thomas gripped hand. Storm of a life. Breath stilled, peaceful. Grief tsunami, Thomas adrift, Milo anchoring. Estate memorial, Hunter's plaque, poetry etched. Summer healing. Twins' first words, pop pop, Thomas's laugh cracked open. Fall writing, elegy novel, bestseller catharsis. Winter solstice. Stories sans Hunter, but his voice in wind. Ages deepened. Thomas 90, Milo 60, great-grand-twins romping. Lectures legend, Brownstone Museum light. One eve, conservatory visit, orchids eternal. Thomas sat, Evelyn's chair, brooch pinned. We did it, Graham. Love's the will. Wind side yes. Legacy. Not gold, but givers, queer kids housed, stories sung. Betrayal scar, faint tattoo. Romance's rose, eternal bloom. Human end. Thomas's last sketch, family tree, branches infinite. Pass to Milo. Tell it true. Fade to Atlantic hush. Storms come, but harbors hold.